It is no longer easy for illegal aliens to obtain driver's licenses in Oregon. The state's governor signed an executive order that requires license applicants to have a valid Social Security number or show that they are in the United States legally. Now, under the orders, state officials must verify the Social Security numbers, and the governor says the action was necessary because lax regulations made Oregon a magnet for illegal aliens to illegally obtain a driver's license. Well, lawmakers on Capitol Hill are increasingly focusing on the issue of driver's licenses. Newly introduced legislation would limit funds to states that issue driver's licenses to illegal aliens, and it would also withhold federal highway funds to states issuing licenses that are not in compliance with the new federal security guidelines of Real ID. New York Representative Vito Fossella is one of the co-sponsors of the bill, and he joins us now. And thank you for being with us.
My pleasure.
You know, let's just bring our viewers up to date. We have quite a few states that are issuing driver's licenses to illegal aliens. 8 states: Hawaii, Maine, Maryland, Michigan, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, and Washington. Aren't you outraged at this?
Yeah, I think it's wrong. You know, in a post-9/11 world, I think we should err on the side of caution, especially when we deal with our national security. The 9/11 Commission demonstrated conclusively that the terrorists that flew the planes into the buildings, for example, had a number of illegal licenses that they used to circulate freely around the country. Those 19 hijackers had, it's estimated, about 60 licenses. And had, I think, these laws been in effect where you would have limited to those who were here illegally, we would not have had that event. Some of the statements, such as travel documents in the hands of terrorists are like bombs, you know, should resonate with the American people. And
so your whole point is security, is it?
The first and primary responsibility is security. Is separate and apart from should government be sanctioning the illegal behavior of those who come here illegally, I think is wrong. But first and foremost, it's about security. And in this day and age, I don't think we should be erring on the side of trying to please anybody, but highlight the importance of protecting the American people.
Let's turn to the issue of New York State, which has been very much in the headlines of late. Now, your bill would cut off federal funding for highways by 2% starting in 2010 for any state that's not Real ID compliant. In New York, that would be $31 million. And, of course, Governor Spitzer has backed down from issuing illegal aliens driver's licenses. What do you think of that development, and do you think that they are on track to comply or not?
Well, you got to remember, in large part, this is in response to the fact that the governor basically declared, as a monarch would, I'm going to do this regardless of what anybody says at the state level. Such is the case that issuing licenses is a state responsibility. And weeks went by, public was justifiably outraged. The common sense and conventional wisdom of the American people stood up and said, this is not right. The people of New York said this is not right. But nevertheless, he went on. And then that's when I felt it was my obligation, the responsibility to introduce legislation is so be it. Even though I'm a New Yorker and a proud one at that, I would think it's wrong, and that the states that issue driver's licenses to illegals should suffer somehow as an incentive not to do so. And with the legislation would withhold highway funding to any state that does so. It's modeled after legislation already in existence that tries to deter alcohol-related driving. And if a state does not have a certain blood level or alcohol level, it would have highway funds withheld. So that works well. We thought that would be a good model. But by and large, we send the signal that in this country, in a post-9/11 world, national security trumps everything else.
Let me read from a letter that you wrote to Governor Spitzer last Friday, because you're also concerned that the security issues that were discussed in New York won't be implemented. And you wrote, I am concerned that your administration may be considering backing away from your agreement with the Federal Department of Homeland Security to offer both WHTI, which is Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative, and Real ID compliant driver's licenses in New York State by next year. So where do you think New York State will stand on this? Has Governor Spitzer replied to you?
The answer to the second question is no. The answer to the first question is, again, the Real ID Act is somewhere we want safe and secure driver's licenses. Those that are tamper-proof. We believe that the agreement that the governor entered into with the Department of Homeland Security was appropriate. He said it at the time. But what concerned me was some of the rhetoric that came out when he shelved this plan, is that they're going to reevaluate or take another look at that agreement. Now, I don't understand what's changed, because when they entered into it, said everything was fine, New York's issues would be addressed. I'm concerned, as someone who lost too many people in Staten Island and Brooklyn on 9/11, that we never have a day like that again, and that we should not be turning a blind eye towards those who come here illegally, and those who come here illegally with nothing but illicit purposes or threats to our national security.
We very much applaud your efforts. Thank you very much for coming on the program, Representative Vito Fossella. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.